The Galactic Medical Consortium had declared her a lost cause. Zara's bioluminescent patches flickered weakly as she lay crumpled in the refuse chute of Station Kepler-7, her Zarathi physiology failing in ways that defied their advanced xenobiology. The viral plague that had swept through her homeworld had left her immune system in shambles, her organs slowly shutting down despite the best efforts of the galaxy's finest physicians. Cellular degradation is at 93%, Dr. Vexithari had announced to the medical board, his crystalline features betraying no emotion. The subject's species lacks the regenerative capabilities necessary for recovery. Resources would be better allocated elsewhere, and so they had discarded her, another casualty of bureaucratic efficiency. Marcus Chen found her there, barely breathing, her translucent skin taking on the grayish hue that preceded death in her species. The human sanitation engineer wasn't supposed to be in this sector, but a faulty waste processor had drawn him to the medical wing's disposal area. Most beings would have walked past, perhaps filed a report about improper body disposal. Marcus knelt beside her instead. "Hey there," he whispered, his calloused hands surprisingly gentle as he checked her pulse points. The universal translator in his ear crackled as it detected her faint biosignature. "Still fighting, aren't you?" Something in her eyes, those large, multifaceted orbs that reflected the station's sterile lighting, reminded him of his daughter back on Earth, the same stubborn spark that refused to be extinguished. Marcus had lost Elena to the same bureaucratic coldness, watching helplessly as the hospital's resource allocation algorithm had deemed her experimental treatment economically unfeasible. The memory burned in his chest as he gathered Zara's frail form, her body weighing less than a human child despite her adult stature. "Let's get you home," he said. His quarters in the station's maintenance sector were cramped and smelled of recycled air and industrial lubricants, but they were warm. Marcus had transformed the small space over his 3-year assignment, jury-rigging, environmental controls, and installing a hydroponic garden that somehow thrived under his care. If the advanced medical bay couldn't save her, maybe something simpler could. The first weeks were brutal. Zara drifted in and out of consciousness, while Marcus researched everything he could about Zarathi physiology. The station's medical database was restricted, but maintenance access gave him backdoor entry to environmental systems, and environmental systems tracked atmospheric requirements for every known species. He learned that Zarathi were symbiotic beings, their immune systems dependent on beneficial microorganisms that the sterilized medical environment had inadvertently destroyed. The viral plague hadn't just attacked her directly. It had wiped out her body's microscopic allies, leaving her defenseless against her own cellular processes. Marcus began cultivating soil samples from his garden, extracting microbes and introducing them to Zara's system through carefully prepared broths. He monitored her breathing, tracked her temperature fluctuations, and learned to read the language of her bioluminescent patterns. When her patches flared bright blue, she was in pain. When they pulsed soft amber, she was healing. Slowly, impossibly. She began to improve. The consortium physicians would have called it primitive, unscientific. They would have cited contamination protocols and sterile field requirements. But Marcus understood something they had forgotten in their pursuit of clinical perfection. Sometimes healing required a little dirt under the fingernails. "You saved me," Zara whispered one evening, her voice like wind chimes in her native tongue, the translator rendering it into Marcus's earpiece. She was sitting up now, her bioluminescent patches glowing steady white, the color of contentment he had learned. "We saved each other," Marcus replied, tending to his tomato plants. He had been dying too in his own way, consumed by grief and purposelessness. Caring for her had given him something to fight for again. Their relationship deepened naturally, born from shared vulnerability and mutual respect. Marcus learned about her world, its crystal cities and singing forests. Zara discovered human resilience, the stubborn refusal to accept defeat that had carried her species from a single planet to the stars. When she told him about the pregnancy, Marcus felt the universe shift around them. Impossible, Dr. Vexithari declared when they finally returned to the medical wing months later. Zara's pregnancy unmistakable in the swelling of her abdominal chambers. Zarathi-human hybrid conception has never been documented. The genetic incompatibilities alone... Life finds a way, Marcus interrupted, his arm protectively around Zara's shoulders. Her bioluminescent patches were cycling through rainbow patterns, joy, anticipation, fierce maternal protection. The medical team ran every test imaginable, their instruments humming as they tried to quantify the miracle growing within Zara's body. The hybrid child showed characteristics of both species. Human adaptability paired with Zarathi longevity, Marcus's stubborn determination combined with Zara's empathic sensitivity. The cellular matrix is unprecedented, Dr. Vexithari admitted, his scientific curiosity finally overriding his professional skepticism. The human genetic contribution appears to be providing structural stability, while the Zarathi elements offer enhanced sensory capabilities. This child could represent an evolutionary leap. But Marcus and Zara weren't thinking about evolutionary leaps or scientific breakthroughs. They were thinking about cribs and lullabies, about teaching their child to tend gardens and read the language of light. The consortium offered them research positions, unlimited funding, a chance to study their unique situation under controlled conditions. They declined politely and requested transfer to a frontier colony world, somewhere their child could grow up with soil under their feet and stars overhead. As their transport ship pulled away from station Kepler 7, Zara's hand found Marcus's. Her bioluminescent patches pulsed soft gold, the color of hope, of futures yet unwritten. "Thank you," she said, "for seeing life where others saw only death." Marcus squeezed her hand gently, watching the stars wheel past the viewport. Somewhere in the cargo hold, his salvaged hydroponic equipment waited to begin again, to coax life from barren ground on whatever world they would call home. "That's what humans do," he said simply. "We don't give up." Behind them, the space stations. Lights faded into the cosmic dark, but ahead lay infinite possibilities, and a child who would inherit the best of both worlds.